Okay, we're gonna talk about, hold on. Okay, I'm back. Hopefully the lighting isn't atrocious. I do have my overhead light on just because it's like very gloomy out this morning. But anyway, we are going to be doing a wrap up of all of the books that I read in March. Grab a drink, buckle up, and we're gonna get right into it. First of all, I always like to start with my stats that I always put in my reading journal. My reading journal, by the way, if I haven't already said this, is from Little Inklings Design. I will put her handle here and also try to remember to link it in the description. But this is my favorite reading journal ever because it's kind of already got your like setups ready to go and you can just like write things in, which I love. But anyway, here's the stats. I read 11 books total in the month of March. My average rating was about 4.5 stars. Pages read total was 4,640. Then the formats that I read them in, I read 2 actually like physically, and then I read 9 on my Kindle. And then I didn't have any audiobooks. I feel like I'm kind of in an audiobook slump and I'm in my Kindle era, like fully. So yeah, I mostly read on my Kindle this month. As far as genres, I kind of just stayed in my wheelhouse. So we read 7 fantasy books and 4 romance books. Now there is a little bit of overlap of like YA and stuff, but I kind of like to just break it down fantasy versus romance because, for example, one of the books that I read, Taming 7, is technically YA, but I don't even like view it as YA, so it's just in the romance category for me at this point. I'm gonna kind of do these probably a little bit out of order, and I'll try to remember to tell you guys like which books were read in vlogs and also link those vlogs below in the description. I feel like it just gets kind of like redundant if I'm doing an in-depth reading vlog and talking about a book and then also doing the wrap-ups. I don't know. I haven't decided yet if I want to like keep doing wrap-ups or not. Without further ado, let's get into it. The first book, I believe, this, like I said, will probably be a little out of order, but I do believe the first book that I went into March reading was Out of the Woods by Hannah Bonham Young. This one I was really, really excited for because I read Out on a Limb. Where is it? Right here. I read Out on a Limb sometime last year and absolutely loved it, gave it 5 stars. I still think about those characters, specifically Bo, the MMC in that book. He was Golden Retriever, he was amazing. And anyway, so I was really excited to pick this up. And this one follows high school sweethearts, Sarah and Caleb Linwood, and they are married and they've been married for quite a while. So you have that trope of like marriage in trouble. They are already together, but they're working on their relationship. And I do sometimes enjoy that trope, but I think my favorite part of romance books is just like that buildup, right? That buildup of tension and banter and all of that that leads to them getting together. And so you kind of, that part's kind of missing from this book. And there's also like, there's kind of like some heavier stuff in here. The main character, Sarah, is dealing with some self-doubt, some grief. There's like a lot of like flashbacks in this book. And I guess I just wasn't really expecting that, which could be on me. I didn't really read the author's note or anything before going into this one, so that could be on me. But I think I ended up rating this 3 stars, I want to say. Let me double check. I probably should have already had my Goodreads open because everyone knows I can't remember anything. I rated this just like a good old 3 stars. I think that it was fairly enjoyable for what it was. It just, I don't think it was like, it's just not my favorite, I guess. But I would still recommend it because I know a lot of people really, really have enjoyed this book, and the relationship between these 2 characters is really sweet. Seeing them kind of come back together and work on the relationship is always, that's always a good time. So that's this one. Like I said, rated at 3 stars, which 3 stars for me is not a bad rating. I would say if it's less than 3 stars, it usually means that I didn't really enjoy it. And that one, it wasn't that I didn't enjoy it, I just, like I said, don't think it was my favorite. And then we started a reading vlog where I read, I believe, these 3 books. Oh. So I read the first book in the Shades of Magic trilogy by V.E. Schwab. I read A Dawn of Onyx by Kate Golden, and I also read Rebel Witch by Kristen Cicerelli, which finished off the Crimson Moth duology for me. So starting with, let's leave Darker Shades of Magic for last because I'm going to talk about the entire series. Let's talk about Rebel Witch. This was, I mean, for one, I was super excited for this as well. This just came out this year. And like I said, it's the final book in the Crimson Moth duology. And this was everything that I expected and more. I gave Heartless Hunter 5 stars and didn't know how like this one could top it, but it did. This one's also 5 stars. But I liked it somehow better than Heartless Hunter. This follows Rune Winters, who is a witch, and Gideon, who is a witch hunter. So you get that true enemies to lovers in this series. I can't say much about the plot because it is the second book, but all you really need to know is that it's really good true enemies to lovers. This is a YA series, but I would say it kind of toes the line of YA and adult because you do get you get a little something something, if you know what I mean. It's not like completely closed door, but the tension between these two characters and the longing and just the fact that the push and pull, right? Like they can never be together because of this distinct line in their morals. Gideon hates witches. His family was killed by witches, and Rune is a witch. She's been in hiding her whole life, so she feels a lot of obvious resentment towards the government and like the witch hunters. And I just found this book, the plot, to be so fun, so fast-paced. I didn't want to put this down. Every time I wasn't reading, I just wanted to be reading this. And so yeah, 5 stars. If you have not read the Heartless Hunter, the Crimson Moth duology, I highly recommend it if you are a romantasy lover. Even if you're not like into YA, again, this toes the line, so I do think that it's a satisfying series, a satisfying duology for pretty much anyone who likes romantasy. So that was this one. Like I said, I read that in a vlog. I will link that below so you can see my like in the moment thoughts if you would like to. But yeah, and then the next book that I picked up in that same reading vlog was A Dawn of Onyx by Kate Golden. I've had this on my TBR for a little while, but I had recently heard from a lot of people like really good things about this, and so it kind of bumped it up on my TBR. Now, this is called the Sacred Stones trilogy, I believe. I think it's just a trilogy. You follow Arwen Valendale, who she basically gets taken prisoner, and this is all in the back, by like the Onyx King's men, and the Onyx King is known to be like cruel and vicious. He's infamous, right? And so she's like, oh no, like my life's basically over. I'm going to be the prisoner of this horrible, awful king. And she ends up meeting another prisoner and things go from there. Like she's trying to escape, and there are just so many things that just happen right after the next that makes this plot so fun, so fast-paced. I would say this is really like a not no brain power, but like a very good bingeable, very low brain power kind of a romantasy series. So if that is something you're looking for, you just kind of want to binge something that's kind of not as serious, I guess. This is a good one to go into. I liked the romance. The ending of it, there's a trope that's thrown in there that's like not my absolute favorite thing ever, but it makes sense and it does set up for book 2. So I am excited to go into book 2. That is on my TBR cart. But yeah, what did I end up rating this? I think I rated it somewhere in the high 4 stars. Yeah, I ended up rating this 4.5 stars. So again, really fun, enjoyable time, and I do highly recommend this. And I think the other thing that was really cool about this series is that the kingdoms are based on different like crystals, or yeah, crystal stones, hence the name Dawn of Onyx. And then the second book is called A Promise of Peridot. So like each kingdom is based on a different gemstone, and I find that really fun and unique. I haven't really seen that yet. And so yeah, points for uniqueness. But I do recommend this. Fun romantasy. There wasn't a ton of spice that I can remember in this one. I think it's mostly setting up for like the next books in the series. Recommend. Very fun, very quick. Other book that I read in that same vlog was A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab, and then in another separate vlog, I ended up finishing the entire series. So in the month of March, we did finish the entire Shades of Magic trilogy, which I am super proud of myself for, because if you know me, if you've been around for a little while, you know I have been trying to prioritize finishing series that I'm in the middle of this year, and what better way to do that than when you start a new series to just read them back to back. I do sometimes struggle with this because I'll get, not like bored, but like I kind of need to like take a break and like have a palate cleanser in between. And then what happens is I end up just not going back and reading the series either ever or for a very long time. So I'm really trying to be better at just like reading them back to back, especially like if I'm in the mood for it, why not? So I do think I did a really good job with that this month. And so we read the entire Darker Shade of Magic trilogy. I loved this. This is gonna probably stand to be one of my favorite series of this year. And I now love V.E. Schwab. She's gonna be an author that I'm definitely going to read more from. In A Darker Shade of Magic, you follow Kel. He's the guy on the cover of this book. You follow Kel, who is an Antari. He's basically like one of the only, not only magic wielders, but like one of the only people left in the world who can travel in between Londons. And so the most unique part of these books, I think, and like the main thing, is that these Antari, there's only like a few of them in the world, can travel in between the different Londons. There is Red London, White London, Grey London, and then Black London, which Black London is kind of like a whisper about it. It doesn't really exist anymore, or like people don't think it exists anymore. You have these different Londons. Red London is Kel's home London. Grey London has no magic, and then White London is like very vicious. People are scared of going there for a good reason. I loved this. I loved this is more of like a classic fantasy adventure. Like I mentioned in my vlog, there are like pirates, dark magic, and you're really just focusing on the adventures in each book more so than romance. But you do get a couple romance subplots throughout the entire series that my romance-loving heart really enjoyed and really needed. And man, let me just tell you, by book 3, I was so invested in these characters that I had to annotate. Again, if you know me, if I'm annotating a book, that means I love the absolute crap out of it. So I gave the first book, I rated A Darker Shade of Magic 4.75. And then in the other vlog where I continued the series, I rated this one, A Gathering of Shadows. I also rated 4.75 stars. They were just like not quite a 5-star yet, but they were so enjoyable that I had to rate them like as close to a 5 stars as possible. I just didn't get that like 5-star feeling until the third book. Like I just spoiled for you guys, the third book I did rate 5 stars. Throughout the series, you start to get more points of view as well, which I always love that in a fantasy series when you start with just like 2 character point of views, and then as the series goes on, you start getting more side character point of views added in. And I loved the side characters in these books. The side characters were a huge standout for me. Because this is a third in the series, I can't really say much, but if I go back to... Oh, yeah, so I mentioned that it follows Kel, but the series also, starting in book 1, follows Lila Bard as well. She's this one on this cover. I also just love these covers. They're very like simple and like different from a lot of my fantasy covers. Love them. Anyway, this follows Delilah Bard as well, like throughout the whole series, and she is basically cross-dressing thief who wants to be a pirate. And I'm sorry, that right there from book 1, I was like, I love her. I just love her. She's such a fun character. She's so sassy. She's very strong-willed. She's always just gonna like do what she wants to do, right? Sometimes without thinking. It sometimes gets her into trouble, but I always really enjoy reading about those like characters, if you know what I mean. So that was really, really fun. And of course, the 2 main characters end up crossing paths in the first book, and that starts their first adventure. I also love that all 3 books kind of tie together with, like, you get different adventures and different kind of things going on in each one, but there's always this like darker magic underfoot that is building and building, and you get a great epic conclusion in the final book, which is why that one is a 5 stars, even though both of the other ones were also very close. So all I can say is if you have not yet if you have not read A Darker Shade of Magic yet, please, please do. I highly recommend it. You won't regret it. I don't know why I put this off for as long as I did. And that is a theme for me, is that the books that I put off the longest a lot of times end up being ones that I absolutely love, like new favorites. Like this series is a new favorite series for me and I'm obsessed with it. So you should definitely watch it. LOL. You should definitely read them and let me know what you think of them. If you have read them, I would also love to know what you think of them because I feel like I have nobody to really talk about these with. But yeah, though, basically all three books, not basically, all three books were read in 2 separate different reading vlogs and I just had the best time. I read them, I kind of took my time, especially with the third book. It is chunky. I took my time, I savored it. I didn't want it to end. I was so sad to say goodbye to these characters. So I feel like during these videos, I always get so out of breath and I'm like, Courtney, why don't you just take a breather for a second? I think I'm just like afraid of like losing my train of thought. Let's talk about the next book that was also in our reading vlog so that we can leave the books that weren't in reading vlogs for last. So the other book that I read in a reading vlog, I can't remember, I think I maybe read this one. Yeah, I read this one in my continuing series reading vlog where I also read the final 2 books in the Shades of Magic trilogy. We are now also caught up with The Boys of Tommen, although she has another book coming out in May that I'm probably gonna like immediately read because this is a god tier series for me. Taming 7, what did I rate this? I rated Binding, Keeping 13, and Saving and Redeeming 6. Like all of those are 5-star books for me, 6-star books for me. This was another 4.75 rating. I still really enjoyed it, just like being back with these characters and also because I was so excited for Claire and Gibbsy's story. It's almost like it doesn't matter what she writes, I'm going to love being in this world again. And the first thing, and I say this every time I talk about the series, the first thing you need to know about this series is that it is heavy. A lot of traumatic, heavy things happen to these characters and you're gonna cry. It's gonna make you really sad. But also, they feel so real. Like it feels like you know them so intimately, so deeply. You just want the best for them. And a common theme between almost all of the series that I am obsessed with, like my god tier series, a common theme is that I feel very connected and close to the characters. And this one is no exception. So anyway, this one follows Claire and Gibbsy and you kind of get tidbits of their relationship and their past throughout all of the other books. So by the time you get to this book, you're amped. And I will say there was a couple things about this book that I know other people don't love. They didn't bother me as much as they bothered other people, I feel like. Sorry, I feel like the cover has like grease on it. Anyway, the one major thing that I think a lot of people don't love about this is that there is a lot of Lizzie. Now, if you know the series, Lizzie is, she's something else. She's kind of mean and she is constantly biting people's heads off. And especially Gibbsy, like she has beef with Gibbsy and that makes me sad because I freaking love Gibbsy and after reading this book, I love him even more. But anyway, Lizzie and her issues are in this a lot, but to me it kind of made sense why she was because she's kind of intertangled in everything that's going on. Again, I can only say like vague things, so if you don't know what the heck I'm talking about, just know that this is 5 6-star series for me and if you haven't read it yet, you should definitely check it out. Check your triggers first. But you should definitely check it out. It also, all of the characters they live in Ireland. They're in like the equivalent of what high school is for us in the US. They just go through traumatic things. It's very much like just drama between characters, character study type of vibes, but you get very explicit like on-screen things. And that's why I don't really think that these should be categorized as YA. They're in the YA section at my Barnes and I'm just like, I don't know who made the decision, but to me they are not YA. So do with that what you will. Loved this. I just love being back with these characters. I cried in like every single book, but I cannot wait. Even though the next book I believe is about Lizzie, I don't even care because I will read anything that she writes in this world with these characters. I will read and I will be happy about it. 4.75, very close to 5 stars, but the entire series as a whole is a 5 6-star series. I want to talk about these. I kind of read on a whim, like they were not on my radar for this month at all. That is Wild Eyes and Wild Side by Elsie Silver. I read Wild Eyes because it had been on my TBR for a while and then I just was in the mood for more of Elsie Silver, so I just went and picked up the new release Wild Side, read them back to back. had a great time. So let's start with Wild Eyes. Wild Eyes follows Weston, Belmont, and Skylar. Skylar is, she's like a famous country singer, pop singer. So it's like One of Us is famous, single dad. Weston is a single dad. You see him in book 1. He is the best friend. He's Ford's best friend and Rosie's brother from the first book. So yeah, you have that. Their meet cute at the beginning is very kind of like out there. She's trying to get like this video of her with this bear on the side of the road, and Weston's like, what the frick are you doing? That's very dangerous, and basically has to like save her from this situation. And that's how they first cross paths, and then things go from there, and there's some forced proximity because she's there kind of running away from her life as a pop star. She's tired of her parents kind of running the show. They're like her agents or whatever, and they're just not good people. So she's kind of running from her life, doesn't really have that spark anymore for her career. All she really knows is being a child star, being a star in general. And so she kind of just wants to escape into a quieter life for a little while. And I love those kind of books where, you know, girl leaves big city and escapes to small town. Love that trope. So another thing about Elsie Silver you have to know is she will shove every trope ever into a book and make it good. Like it's not in a way that it feels forced. It's always so good. So yeah, highly recommend. I rated this 5 stars. 5 stars. And I loved the romance. Ate it up. Her spice is always really good. Like Elsie Silver, she's the queen of spice. Her books are quite spicy, so just know that. But like they're so good. And there are also children in this book, which sometimes I don't like children in books, but she does it well. Like the children in these books don't bother me. They're actually really cute and help the plot move forward. I also loved seeing the cameos of Rosie and Ford in this book as well. I always love that about interconnected standalone series. So we read that one, and then immediately we also picked up Wild Side, which is the newest one, and this one follows Reese, who is this very secretive, quiet man who is on the bowling team that Weston starts. And again, you hear about this bowling team from book 1. Like Weston gets Ford to join begrudgingly, like he does not want to join, and Weston gets him to join. And Reese is just like very quiet. Nobody really knows anything about him. He's new to town. And so this book follows Reese and Tabitha is the owner of the town's, I think it's like a restaurant or a diner, I believe. And Tabitha's kind of closed off. She ends up meeting Reese through her sister. Her sister has like a drug problem, but is like recovering. And then Reese is the sister's landlord. And I'm not gonna spoil anything. I don't know what's on the back of this. Okay, so basically all you need to know about this is that it's kind of a single parent situation, but they're both unknowingly thrust into having to help take care of this like child. And so that's kind of what brings them together, but they both kind of hate each other, strongly dislike each other, but there's also a lot of tension there. And so if you like dislike to love or hate to love, and forced proximity, tension, all of that, you're gonna love this, because again, Elsie Silver is the queen of tropes. She just does it so well. And I have heard some people not loving this book because the main male character is like a professional wrestler, like think like WWE. And for a lot of people, I've heard that that's kind of an ick. It didn't bother me. I thought it was actually quite fun and unique. And the point to me of romance books is like, they're supposed to be fun. So like that didn't bother me at all. And I actually really love Reese a lot. Like, yes, this book was a yes. So I also rated this one 5 stars. And to me, Elsie just can't do any wrong. I would say in this series, my least favorite is probably Wild Love. And then my favorite is Wild Eyes, closely followed by Wild Side. So recommend this series as well. Recommend anything by Elsie Silver. And then last but not least, the very last 2 books that I finished off the month with are from the Legends of Thesmar series. So I finally picked it back up with book 3, Fate and Furies, and then the 4th book, Shadows and Storms. Again, I feel like I'm just on a roll with series this month. Like I'll kind of go back over a recap of all the series we finished. I am proud of myself because, again, back to back, we read these books and we finished another series. Round of applause. Anyway, Fate and Furies. Again, can't say too much about these books because they are the latter half of a series. All you need to know is book 1 is Blood and Steel. This is book 3. So these books follow Althea, Solitaire, and Wilder Hawthorne and their romance, their unlikely romance, enemies to lovers situation. And her whole life has been told, like, there's this prophecy that women can't wield blades, otherwise the end of times are gonna come about. But her whole life just wants to be a warrior. So she's training in secret. You have that fun aspect. You have like lots of training montages, lots of horseback journeys across the land, and also a lot of dark magic and dark creatures, which I really love. Like these books, this series really gives like Witcher vibes. So if you like The Witcher, the show or the books, I would say this is a fun series. Kind of Witcher, I don't know, kind of Witcher / also ACOTAR vibes a little bit, a tiny bit. So like Witcher with a sprinkle of like ACOTAR vibes. I don't know. I could be completely misleading you. Hopefully I'm not, but that's kind of what I was thinking about the whole time I was reading these. But anyway, you have Althea Solitaire. Her whole dream is she wants to be one of the legendary war swords of Thesmar, who are basically tasked with guarding Thesmar, guarding it from the darkness. There's this veil of like mist that is mysterious and they don't cross it, but like dark creatures are coming through, more and more and more are coming through. And so they're like, oh no, we need to do something about this. So there's a lot of fighting off dark creatures, and throughout it you also have this very spicy romance between the MMC and Althea. And I love the MMC. I love Wilder. I love their relationship, their banter, their tension, and I really loved the first book and gave it 5 stars. But then upon finishing the series, I would say that my ratings are probably, because I liked this one even more than the first book, I would say it goes 4.5 stars for Blood and Steel, 4 stars for Vows and Ruins. For some reason that one's just like my least favorite. Don't know why. Felt a little bit fillery, a little slower for me. And then this one, I would say, is a 4.75. And then Shadows and Storms was a 5 star. So again, it's one of those series that just like builds and builds and builds, and you get really attached to the characters, or at least I did. By book 3, I was really attached to the characters. Again, side characters are huge. I love Kip and Cal, like her best friends. I love the sister. You also get like hints of a romance to come between another 2 characters, and Helen started a new series called Ashes of Thesmar that follows those characters, and I already started that on my Kindle. That's the reading vlog that I'm filming right now. So again, we're mood reading. We are finishing series, we are mood reading, and I'm just really, really happy about that. So anyway, like I said, this book, 4.75. This book, 5 stars. We had a lot of really high ratings this month. I would highly recommend the Legends of Thesmar series, starting with Blood and Steel if you haven't read it already. It's just a good time. It's a really good time. Fantasy romance, but like a lot of also gory war violence, feeding dark creatures, magic, elemental magic. I'm just like listing out tropes, I feel like, here. If that sounds good to you, highly recommend. Big fan, big fan. This is also going to be added to one of my favorite series of this year. So there's that. Like I said, I want to do a recap of all the series that we've caught up with or finished. The 2 series that we completed are the Legends of Thesmar, like I just went over. There's 4 books in that series. That one's complete. We also completed, in the month of March, the entire Shades of Magic trilogy, which is a huge accomplishment. Pat on the back, so happy. And then we got caught up with Boys of Tommen. There are more books coming out, but right now I'm caught up with all of the books that are out. So that feels good as well. We are also caught up with, what is this called? The Rose Hill series. Elsie Silver's Rose Hill series, we are caught up. I think there are more books coming in the series, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're caught up. And then we are also finished with the Crimson Moth duology. So we technically, yeah, we finished 3 series and caught up with another 2 series. So I would say this was an amazing month for my overall reading goals for the year. Like my number 1 top goal was to finish series I'm in the middle of. So this feels really good, really satisfying. We didn't completely stick to my TBR. I showed in my April TBR jar chooses video I showed like ones we had chosen the month before and which ones we finished. So there was only like 2 books that we did not complete out of the March TBR, but regardless, I do think that it worked out in my favor because we got to finish all these series. So anyway, I think that's it. March was a great reading month. I'm really excited for April. If you haven't seen my April TBR video, if you haven't watched that yet, definitely go watch it. Because we have some good picks there as well. Although I am in a really like mood reading mood. Again, like I said, I am filming a mood reading vlog right now. So who knows what I'll read this month. But I am excited. I feel really good about this month and going into April as well. Spring and summer I feel like are sometimes a little bit slower reading months because there's a lot of stuff I'm doing outside. But at the same time, just really fun reading months, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. If you've watched this entire wrap up, thank you so much for being here. I would love to know what you read in the month of March. What was your favorite read? Have you finished any series recently? And yeah, I hope you're having a great start to your April because that's when this will be posted. Again, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you. As always, my links are always in the description, so my Bookstagram, all that kind of stuff. But if you want to keep seeing videos from me, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!